And Saudi Arabia, clearly a cornerstone in President Trump's foreign policy. His first foreign trip was to Saudi Arabia. What kind of problems does this pose for the administration?
It's very embarrassing for President Trump and also Jared Kushner, the Trump senior advisor, who has cultivated a close relationship with Mohammed bin Salman. And so it really, if MBS is no longer going to be a pivotal member of the Saudi leadership, as there's some speculation he might have to, abdicate, or they will shift his responsibilities. Some of the security forces will be under someone else's control. Then they have to plan for, a new strategy for the Middle East. Remember, the Jared Kushner is trying to release a Israeli-Palestinian peace plan sometime next year, and they wanted Saudi support for that. And they also are confronting Iran with a crucial deadline in a couple weeks in terms of trying to stop Iran's oil.
Yeah, and that those sanctions could be pretty severe and have lasting impacts in Iran. But when you talk about the economic impact with Saudi Arabia, do you think that the sanctions on Saudi Arabia, if there were to be any, could really be crippling to them? And do you think this will be a factor in how the U.S. approaches? We've got this huge arms deal the president seems like he's not going to step back from.
I don't think that it's going to cripple Saudi Arabia's economy. They have billions of dollars of oil sales every year, and lots of people are willing to buy their oil. But I think the most important thing is to send a symbolic message and to enact some pain on the Saudi leadership, people in the intelligence services who are on this, involved in this assassination. And so if Trump is not willing to do that, then that raises real questions about, what is the line in the sand to do that? What if an ally can murder a journalist and a Virginia resident? Where does that lead us? And so I don't think the aim is to punish Saudi Arabia's economy and its people. It's more like to hold them accountable for their actions here.
And this is a country where under Prince Mohammed bin Salman, they were trying to diversify, to move beyond oil, as you had mentioned. And they need foreign investment to do that. Any indication as to how other countries will be responding to that? Do you think they're going to toe the line and still continue to stay away beyond this conference that was expected to bring in investment?
Well, European countries, have talked about how to punish the Saudis. But American companies, they seem to want to accept all that Saudi money. And so Saudi Arabia has a ton of investments in the U.S., and it's good for our economy. And we've long had this bargain, this almost devil's bargain with Saudi Arabia, that they would, do what they want, and we would get oil and, a stable country in the Middle East. Now it seems like MBS is very unstable as a leader, a hothead, as some of the experts on the region have written in Politico magazine. He's had that war in Yemen. He's kidnapped the Lebanese prime minister a couple months ago. He locked up a ton of his relatives and prominent Saudis in the Ritz-Carlton in Riyadh. So clearly, it seems like he is not well prepared for this job. He's only in his early to mid-30s.
Dan, this Saudi story has sucked up a great deal of oxygen in the news cycle. I'm curious, as we're heading into midterms and Democrats and Republicans look at this issue, is it resonating with folks in Trump country? Is it resonating on the Democratic side? Can we tell? Is this as big of a deal as we're making this in the news?
I think a lot of people are paying attention to this. They may not know every detail, but just the lurid nature of everything that's happened with Jamal Khashoggi has really caught the attention of the world, and that includes a lot of Trump voters as well. And so I think I wouldn't underestimate that. Clearly, people are not going to vote on this as much in terms of what they're thinking about for the midterms, but Trump's reaction has shocked a lot of Republicans who say that we need to take a much harder line, that we shouldn't have sent Mike Pompeo to smile with MBS, who must have known about this, because one of the people he arrested, one of his top advisors, he said on Twitter a year or so ago that he does everything with authorization from the Crown Prince and the leadership. And so these people weren't just freelancing, and so that's the way they're trying to spin it. But I think U.S. intelligence officials, they know better, and their intelligence is different than that.
Yeah, it's fascinating to see Democrats and Republicans. Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, Republican, Adam Schiff on the other side, both saying something needs to be done on this. I want to thank you so much, Dan, for joining us. Daniel Lippman.
Thank you, Rena.